next challenge is entitled Rhyme Time. Create a function that returns true if 2 lines rhyme and false otherwise. For the purposes of this exercise, 2 lines rhyme if the last word from each sentence contains the same vowels. So there are some notable exceptions here. You'll see in the notes section. They're disregarding cases like time and lime, where they rhyme but they have some different vowels. They have to simplify this to make it a reasonable exercise, so they're just trying to keep it simple here, which is fine. Note that it's case insensitive, and we're also disregarding cases like away and today, which technically rhyme even though they contain different vowels. So we can check out the examples. Notice Sam, I am, and green eggs and ham return true because the vowel, grab just the vowel in the last word, is the letter A, and the last word over here has 1 vowel and it's an A, so that's a match. You get the same thing going on with capital letters. This is what they were talking about in the notes about case insensitivity. You still have the letter A, still have just the letter A, one's lower, one's upper. Still true. The next example, you have A and E in the last word, and in the second string you only have an A, so those don't match. It's missing an E. This has an extra E, so I return false. And then finally, do and move are different because the do doesn't have the E that move has. We're looking at the vowels again, and this has 2, this has 1, and just the letter O, so false. I think that's clear now. We can head over to code. As usual, please pause the video and implement this yourself first. Come back when you're ready or when you've given it an honest effort and are stuck. I'm going to, let's see, how do we want to do this? I'm going to make a couple helper methods. The first one, because you can imagine what we're doing in general here, sometimes it works well to just kind of talk it out. And what do we want to do? We only care about the last word, right? And in the last word, we only care about the vowels. So to that end, let's make a helper method that'll just grab the last word for us and sort of, then we can throw away the rest of the sentence. So I'll say private static string get last word given a string. And for this one, nothing new. We're going to use the strings split method for this. Use that in the past. I'll call it var tokens for my result. And I'm going to say string split, and we know we can give it a character. I'm giving it the space symbol, so I'm splitting by spaces. This statement here will return the original string, but cut up into pieces, so like a string array, split on spaces. So that's how it will define the boundaries and where to cut up the string with space. So given that, we can just return the last element of this tokens collection, right? So we can say return tokens length -1. Remember, we use 0-based indexing, so we're going to say the length -1. Then we can put a statement in here just to show that this is working okay. Print get last word string 1. And I'll just return some dummy value for now, just so we can see that. We know we need to add using system if we want to use console write line. That'll cover us there. While I'm at it, I'm going to add a couple others that I plan on using. Use this for lists, and I'm going to use some link methods in my other helper method. So let's check this out and make sure that our get last word method is working as we expect. Come on, Edabit. Okay, so we got am exclamation mark for string 1. We can go over to tests and see Sam I am, right? So that did what we wanted it to do. Great. It included the punctuation, but that's no matter. We're going to filter that later. We just want to make sure we're grabbing the final word. Good. So that's a nice help. And then secondly, given this last word, let's make something that filters out everything that's not a vowel. So if you remember in the past, we've had a collection of vowels to this end. Private static here's that list I was talking about, a list of characters, and I'm going to call it vowels. New list of char. Now I'm going to initialize it with the vowels A, E, I, O, U. That's what they usually specify for vowels. They say don't worry about Y, so I'm not going to. Good, I have a list of vowels. This will be helpful. So let's make another helper method that's going to take a string, which will be the last word, and I'm going to call it, basically I'm going to extract the values, the vowels, and then order them to do a straight up comparison. It'll be easier when they're ordered. I can just compare the two strings directly with the equals comparison, the double equal sign. So let's call this one private static. It's going to return a string. Let's call it get ordered vowels given as string. And this will represent, we'll pass in the last word here. So how do we do this? Well, notice for my vowels collection I did it in lowercase, and we're not returning strings here, we're just returning true or false. We don't really care. So I'm going to take my input and convert it to lower. You've seen this done in the past. Then I can compare directly to vowels without having to add uppercase vowels here. Makes life a little bit easier. Now, let's filter out the vowels. Do you remember what link method we used for that? That would be where, right? And we're going to basically check. We know that each element that comes in here is going to be a character, a char, right? String is a collection of chars. So I usually name mine ch. You can name your character variable however you like. And then I'm going to check if vowels contains, we've used list contains, nothing new there. And just see if our vowels contains the character in question that we're processing at any given moment. So this effectively makes vowels get through, and anything that's not a vowel, including punctuation or anything, gets thrown out at this point. Good, so what do we do now? I said I wanted to order this so I could just do a straight up string comparison, so I didn't have things like AIE compared to AEI, you know, things where the vowels are the same in the same count, but they didn't quite match up in terms of comparing strings. So let's order these two. We've used order by, and in this case order by takes a lambda method, and this is really handy when you have a custom class, right, where maybe you have a person class that had a height field, a weight field, an eye color field, and you could order by any one of those properties, right? This is really handy with a complex object. In our case, we're just dealing with characters, so just feed the character through. I want to order by the character itself. It's just a simple char structure there, data type. So that's just going to say order by characters. It should do ascending by default, which is fine. You could do descending. It doesn't really matter, just that they're ordered. At this point, we have only vowels. We have them ordered. So now, remember though, at this point, we're still dealing with an enumerable collection, right? And we need to get this to a string. We know something about string constructors. I'm going to make a new string out of this. Return new string. I'm going to close this whole thing up, but we're not quite done, right? We can't create a string from an enumerable of char, but we know we can create it from an array of char. So let's just convert this to an array and let the string constructor do its job. Okay, I think we're good there. So now given these, I suppose if you want to see this working, how about this? I'll do a print line for this as well. And this will be get ordered vowels. And instead of string 1, I'll put in that. So it's going to grab the last word. Notice we had this am last time, so it'll probably just be an A, but we can do this to make sure our other helper method's working okay. Provided it is, I'm only expecting to see the letter A in the first example. We might have to look at some other examples that have longer final words to make sure. Good, A there again. Town, here's a good example. Town had just the O, that looks good. Hopefully we get one with multiple. Here's one, race, we got AE, good, the letters in alphabetical. Stain, AI, race is AE. So it looks like it's doing what we want. Here's home, took EO in alphabetical order. Good. So now, given these two operations, right, it becomes very simple at the point of does rhyme. And that's the power here of breaking things up into really small jobs. So now we can essentially get the ordered vowels for each of these, the last words in these, and just straight up compare them if they're true, or if the comparison returns true or not. So we can make some string variables. Let's call it last vowels 1, and that would be equal to what we had above, get ordered vowels for string 1. Let's say we can just copy this whole thing. We have to do it for string 2. Make a unique variable name 2. And I think we can just say return last vowels 1 equals last vowels 2, right? That's what the instruction said. And the code pretty much reads like that, which is what you want. I'm going to comment out these now that we've seen them working. And yeah, hopefully this works. You can see how simple this becomes when you make these little agents to do small parts of the work for you. But let's make sure it works first. And sure enough, it's something bad. Oh, I see what I did. Feel free to pause and figure it out if you'd like. Maybe you're already screaming at the computer. How about using an actual variable name? Last vowels 2. There we go. Nice. Hit it. So yeah, pretty simple strategy there. Nice short helper methods here that do focus on one simple minor task of the overall job, and then you sort of integrate the results of that. That's, programming in a nutshell. So yeah, I think we went through that well enough where we don't need a review. But as usual, if anything's not clear, please leave your questions below. I'd like to see what other solutions you came up with. Otherwise, we'll move on to the next challenge. Thanks for watching.